What is up, everyone? Welcome back to another video. So, Super Bowl 60 has officially come and gone, and we have officially crowned a champion for this season. And this video took me a little longer than I wanted to get out. School kind of got in the way a little bit this week, and honestly, I probably don't have a lot to say that hasn't already been said about the game, but I didn't get my turn to talk about the game, so we're still going to do it anyway. And I also figured that I'm not going to do my usual structure here for these videos rather than talking about just what the winner and the loser of this game and what it means, because, in my opinion, it's pretty clear what this game means for the winner and the loser. So we're just going to go through the entire game and how it played out, and then we'll get into, kind of what it means at the end of the video. But with all that out of the way, let's get into it. All right, was this year's big game going to be the cherry on top for what has been such an amazing and exciting season? Spoiler alert, no, it was not. But the game started off looking like somewhat of a track meet. The Seahawks opened up with a field goal drive, and the Patriots were moving the ball pretty well on their first drive as well. But for the first of multiple times throughout the game, a breakdown in the Patriots' pass protection led to the first of many Seattle sacks, completely derailing the Patriots' opening drive. The teams then traded 3-and-outs a couple of times, which again became a theme throughout the night. After another Patriots 3-and-out, Kenneth Walker started taking over. Again, a common theme in this game. It led to another Seattle field goal, which was promptly answered by another New England 3-and-out. The teams went back and forth with some longer punt drives this time before Seattle was able to close out the half with another field goal drive, leading 9-0 at the break. After Bad Bunny did his thing and the Patriots got the ball out of the break, they needed to get their offense going and going quickly. So, on their first drive, they promptly gained 7 yards and went 3-and-out again. Seattle answered with a 69-yard drive of their own, 20 of which coming from a dump-off to, you guessed it, Kenneth Walker, leading to Jason Myers' fourth field goal of the night, putting Seattle up 12-0. This is usually not a comfortable lead in a normal football game, but in this game, this might have well been as good as a 40-0 lead with how good the Seattle defense was playing and really how bad the New England offense was playing. The Patriots answered by going 3-and-out again. This started a stretch of 4 straight 3-and-outs between the two teams. Fun. It was about to be 5 when a defensive hold on Devin Witherspoon on 2nd and 5 gave the Patriots their first down of the second half, with 1:22 to go in the third. How did the Patriots capitalize on this, you ask? By fumbling 3 plays later. Seattle was in prime position to put the game away, starting at the New England 37-yard line. After a clutch conversion to Cooper Kupp on 3rd and 9, Sam Darnold hit A.J. Barner in the end zone for the game's first touchdown, extending Seattle's lead to 19-0. The mountain for New England was looking just too steep to overcome. However, the Patriots got the quick answer that they needed. A 4-play, 65-yard drive capped off by a 35-yard touchdown to Matt Collins took all of 57 seconds off of the clock. All of a sudden, it looked more like slim than it did none a couple minutes ago. And the Patriots defense was able to force a quick Seattle punt, giving the ball back to Drake May at his own 4-yard line, down 19-7 with 10 minutes and 40 seconds to work with. At this point, I imagine probably the rest of the world was thinking, there's no way the Patriots do this shit again, right? After getting into a rhythm and moving the ball down the field on 2nd and 3 from the Patriots 44, Drake May threw quite possibly the worst throw I have ever seen in my life, right to Julian Love. Seriously, I have watched this play countless times since Sunday. I still have no idea what he saw. With the good field position, Seattle was able to manage another field goal drive, extending the lead to 22-7. Now the mountain was back to looking too steep, and on what I believe was their second snap on the Seattle side of the field in the second half, Drake May was hit as he threw, and the ball landed right in the hands of Uchenna Nwosu, who then housed it for a 45-yard touchdown. Game, set, match. Drake May continued his shameless stat padding on the following drive, leading a 65-yard touchdown drive capped off with a 7-yard touchdown to Ramondre Stevenson. They failed a 2-point conversion, leaving the score at 29-13. The ensuing onside kick failed, Seattle punted one more time, Drake May padded his stats a little more, and that was that. For the second time in their franchise's history, the Seattle Seahawks became Super Bowl champions. And for the two teams, look, this was more of a coronation than it was a contest. To me, it was clear from the opening kickoff to the final whistle which one of these teams was a pretty formidable opponent, and which team had to go through some pretty tough opponents in the playoffs to get to this game, and which team, had to get through playoff Herbert, CJ Stroud and a backup quarterback to get to this game. Look, this isn't a dig at the Patriots. You'll see this discourse a lot in the aftermath of the Super Bowl and really into the offseason, but the way I see it, two things can be true. Yes, they have their franchise quarterback. Their core took a massive step forward this year, and it's put their rebuild at a point where it's vastly ahead of schedule and at a point where this team is going to be around for a little while. However, their path to the Super Bowl was a pretty smooth one. And look, I'm not saying that they didn't deserve to be here. I won't even get into that discourse. I won't even entertain that sore loser kind of stuff, but the whole rebuild ahead of schedule thing, I'll admit it did them quite a bit of favors this season. And as for the victors, the Seattle Seahawks, wow. I think this performance is definitely going to go down in the history books. One of the best the big game has ever seen. Right up there with the 2000 Ravens, 2013 Seahawks, 2015 Broncos, and 2020 Buccaneers. And I mean, what a story for Sam Darnold too. You just can't help but be happy for a guy like that unless you're a Jets and maybe a Vikings fan. It's got to sting, but for the rest of us, I mean, good on the guy. That's such an awesome story. And Kenneth Walker, Mr. Super Bowl MVP, his contract is up in about 4 weeks' time, but I'm sure that everyone involved with the Seattle organization, players, management, coaches, fans alike, are willing to table that for a little while and just go celebrate for a little bit, and understandably so. And much like the Patriots, this Seattle team is definitely going to be around for a while. They are just getting started. The Offensive Player of the Year, Jackson Smith-Njigba, just wrapped up year 3. Nick Emenwari, who is a rookie, just became a key piece of this Seattle secondary. Another rookie, Gray Zabel, is now the anchor of the offensive line. Devin Witherspoon, their lockdown corner, just wrapped up year 3. And I could go on and on. Oh, and by the way, Mike McDonald just tied Sean McVay for becoming the youngest head coach in NFL history to win a Super Bowl. So, what I think of the game. I mean, it wasn't Super Bowl 53 bad, but man, it definitely wasn't great. Again, one of our final two teams here was just flat out overmatched, and both defenses played out of their minds, but the turnovers didn't come until well into the second half, so really wasn't the most fun watch. This game's pretty easily on the bottom half of the totem pole as far as Super Bowls go, which, you know, is a little disappointing just considering, you know, how good the regular season we got was and how great these playoffs were as well. But I won't complain too much because, again, of that regular season and playoffs that we, as NFL fans, were lucky enough to get this year. But with that being said, that means we have officially come to the end of the road. That is a wrap for the 2025 season. And like I said, definitely one of the best seasons that I can remember in some time. I know, looks like it might be a little biased here. My team won its first playoff game in 10 years, so I get it, but you're going to have to trust me that I'm speaking as a football fan on that. And I'm really glad that the first season I was finally able to set aside time to make content as the season went on. I was lucky enough to get a season as good as this one to have it be my first year doing that. Obviously, though, just because the games are over, that does not mean the NFL world stops spinning. The new league year and in turn the start of free agency is in just about a month, and it's one of the most exciting times of the year. So I'll definitely try and get some content out around them. Usually some big signings happen within the first couple days there. And again, it's a very exciting time. And then after that, we have the draft in April, and then training camp opens up in July, then preseason. And before we know it, it'll be September again, and we'll be gearing up for another year just like that. But that is it for me. I won't get as sappy and sentimental here since I already did that a couple weeks ago. But I'll say it again that for however long you followed along on this journey, I want to thank you for doing so. It truly means the world, and I truly appreciate it. That is it for me. I guess as far as football goes, there's nothing left to look forward to as of right now. I guess, look forward to free agency and the draft in a couple months' time. And I'll see you in the next one.